You are tuned in to Kids
In the Pit.
Hey guys, it's Gabe from Kids in the Pit podcast. Today I'm being joined by Andy from Kill Your Idols. Thanks so much for joining me.
No problem. Happy to do it.
So, what do you do in Kill Your Idols?
What do? I sing and write most of the lyrics.
Okay. Um, nice. What year did Kill Your Idols start, and were you always in the band?
Yes, I started it with Gary, and we started it in about late 1995. And I think our first shows were technically in 1996.
Wow. So, 30 years.
Yes, our 30-year anniversary is coming up, and we're actually hoping to record some new stuff to celebrate the 30 years.
That's sick.
Yeah, we're psyched.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite song to play live?
I don't have one favorite. I do have several that I love playing live. Some because I just know they're going to get a great reaction, and that's always, a buzz to have everybody singing along. And there's some that I still just love singing and playing, after all these years even.
Mm-hmm. My dad's a huge like Kill Your Idols fan. I think my mom sent you a picture of his Kill Your Idols tattoo. Do you
Yeah,
have Yeah. Do you have any like band tattoos?
I
And okay, what is one that like means a lot to you?
I have a sheer terror tattoo, and I have Jawbreaker tattoo, and both bands have been two of my favorite bands for decades, and they mean everything to me. Like, I'm almost 60 now, so it sounds maybe a little corny saying it, but these bands and their songs got me through many, many tough times and dark times. I've always been passionate about music, no matter what I listen to. And yeah, those are two bands. It's funny because they're really at opposite ends of the spectrum, but lyrically, their songs, their more personal songs are really, they were just what I needed at the time when I was going through some rough stuff.
Yeah. Um, I mean, like you were saying, they're on like two different ends of the spectrum. My two of my favorite bands, yeah, probably my two favorite bands like ever are Hot Water Music and Municipal Waste.
Yeah, they're very different also.
Mm-hmm. Um, you were talking about sheer terror. I interviewed Paul Bearer like I don't know 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yeah. He was hilarious.
Oh, he's always been hilarious, but he's also a great, great songwriter.
For sure.
So when I was going through some really tough times and dark times, and I would write him these long letters about how much his songs meant to me, and he would write back the funniest responses. It'd be like, "You need to stop writing these letters. My girlfriend's getting jealous," or something like that. He was hysterical, but his lyrics really are amazing.
Yeah. It's like seeing sheer terror is like going to a comedy club and a hardcore show at the same time.
Yeah, he's one of the best frontmen in hardcore, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So where do you live and did you grow up there?
No, I live in Florida, but I grew up in New York. Uh,
Okay.
New York is where I went through all my years of really, like, since I've moved down here, I don't think I've been to one show, maybe one. But in New York is where I got into punk and hardcore and spent all the years. That's where Kill Your Idols was based out of for most of our existence.
Yep. Are you close to like Daytona Beach area?
I'm not.
Okay.
We have a
So
lot. Daytona Beach was one of our Kill Your Idols' best stops on tour, and especially in Florida. But even throughout the whole country, Daytona Beach was one of those special areas where we made a lot of good friends through the years, and the shows there were just always top notch for us.
Yeah, I know Pete from Sick of It All. He lives in Daytona Beach. Do you like know him?
I do know him. I can't say we're best buddies, but if I saw him, if I ran into him down here, we'd stop and talk. We've we've played with Sick of It All many times through the years, and we used to have some mutual friends, so I've known him from outside of shows too. Great guy. All the guys in Sick of It All are great.
Yeah. So his daughter, I play like Minecraft with her and her friends a lot. I play like a bunch of video games with them.
I know nothing about video games. Last video game I played was like Space Invaders.
Yeah.
Actually,
Is that like Atari?
yes. My
Before
son
Nintendo.
Yeah. I know.
and I went on to try to play one time. It wasn't Minecraft, but it was one of the real popular ones. I couldn't even figure out how to make a character. So after a while I got frustrated and stopped trying.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean,
I don't know how.
in some games, like you can't just like make a character. It's really dumb. You have to like buy the characters with real money, which is kind of stupid.
I don't think this one, it wasn't saying anything about money. It was like hit the triangle button and the square button and this and that. And it was just, I'm used to,
That'd be a PlayStation, I think. Yeah.
what was that?
I was like, that's probably a PlayStation because I'm pretty sure that's the only system with like triangle and
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, this was a while ago too. This is probably like 6, 7 years ago.
yeah. Um, yeah, some games are like very complicated to figure out. Yeah, it's cool that like now you can play video games with people on the opposite side of the world.
I mean, it is cool. There's definitely a cool aspect to it, and not to sound overly boomerish, but I also see like a negative side to it. Like, a big part of growing up for me was getting together with my friends, and we could make up a game. But all we needed was a ball or a stick or anything. And so it's like I could see how cool it is to be able to get together with a bunch of people from all over and play together. But the old guy in me is like, doesn't really relate to it the same way. Like I said, I grew up, we all met on the corner and got together and did stuff in person. So it's a very different time.
Mhm. I mean, kids don't play outside as much anymore. We do go to there's a thing in our like county called like a park day, and so it's once a week we go to a park and like just a bunch of kids are there.
Well, that's cool. I mean, look, you're in a band. Obviously, you're not just sitting home all the time, but
Yeah.
realizes.
Yeah, we just went on a 6-day tour. It was we went down to South Carolina and back, so it was very fun.
And how'd you do? Kill Your Idols never did well in the Carolinas. Um,
I mean, in the so we did there were it was see the first how many shows were in North
It was,
Carolina? So it was 6 shows, and 3 of them were in the Carolinas, 2 in North Carolina, 1 in South Carolina. The first one had like 7 people paid, which was and 6 of them were my aunt and her friends.
hey, that's all part of playing shows. We've played many shows to 4 or 5 people. We've played shows where the place was packed, and by the time we were done playing, there were like 3 people watching us. Like that's all part of it. But Gary, like I said, I'm the singer. I've never done a band. Gary was more of the musician, but he always told me from day one, it doesn't matter how many people are watching. We need to play our best every night, and that's what we would do. And you know what? Even in North and South Carolina, we might not have had big followings, but we had a couple of kids that loved us. So we still went back and played there year after year because it's not their fault that there's not hundreds of kids there. There was only a few, but we still played our best every night. Doesn't matter how many people were there. And that's part of touring, playing to, these little shows. We played a show all the way in England once. It was just us and the other bands playing to each other. That's it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, we've played a lot of shows like that, but it's like it's fine. It doesn't sometimes like it doesn't matter like if there's a bunch of people, if there's a few people, it just you want to play good every time.
Yeah, that look, especially when you're touring, the hope is you play great to these 5 people, and then next time you come, there'll be 10 people. And then next time you come, there'll be 30 people. And for us, that's the way it did work on a lot of tours. Like a lot of places, we built up our following, but there were many places where, our sound just never took. The Carolinas were definitely an area. But again, we do have friends there and we have fans there. It was just not many of them.
Mhm. Um, yeah, I mean, overall, it was still a really fun tour, even though most of the shows were pretty empty. I mean, the first one was pretty good. Um, and the second, third, and fourth one, no, second and third were like, okay. The fourth one was pretty good. Then the fifth one's like okay. Then the sixth one was really, really good. But they were all awesome and amazing.
Tell me about the guy who bought like $100 in shirts.
Oh yeah, at the one in South Carolina, there was this guy. So we it was a free show because we were supposed to play in Atlanta instead of South Carolina, but the promoter like stopped doing shows, I guess. So we had to get a replacement show, and this guy that we knew, he like uh within like a week before the show, he got us like a free show in South Carolina.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, look, anything is better than a night off, especially when you're on tour. We were very lucky when we toured. We did 30 tours in the US, plus like weekends and stuff like that. And we were very, very lucky. Through all those years, I think maybe we had 3 cancellations ever. But I know bands that have gone on tour and more than half their shows got canceled. So, you know, if you lost one, but you got to play a free one anyway, at least you were playing. Every night you play, there's that hopes of getting one new person interested in your band.
Yeah, I mean, so what we did is we like walked down the street in the town and told people to come to the show because it's free. And this guy, he saw us, he really, really liked us, and he bought like $100 in merch. So that was really, really nice of him.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's a lot of good people out there. And then, it's funny because, again, we didn't do well in the Carolinas, but once you start going on bigger tours, don't ever neglect all the little towns across America. Like everybody plays the big cities, but we would play because we toured so much, we would just try to play every night. If we had a 15-hour drive, why not try to cut it in half and play even again if it's some small town that's only one exit on the highway. Some of those shows ended up being great. We stopped in this place, Bend, Oregon. One night we got off, we were driving middle of nowhere. We got off to stop at a Denny's and get some food. A couple of kids walked over to us. They were like punk kids. They asked if we were a band, and we told them, yeah. They said, hey, next time you're out this way, call me and we'll put you on a show. Every kid in town came out, whether they were into punk or not. It's just these small towns, these kids have nothing to do. So something new happens, like a show, especially from a band that's not in the area, and everyone comes out. By the last time we played Elko, it was like families having picnics. Some lady like pulled over, we were lost, and she's like, hey, you guys kill your idols? Follow me to the show. Like it was just the whole town knew who we were. So but that happened all across the country though. Like Radcliffe, Kentucky, we had a huge following. And most people play like what's the big city in Kentucky again?
Louisville?
Yeah. Most people would play there. We played this place, Radcliffe, and again, we played some of our best shows on tour there. So there are all these little towns and cities, and there's punks and hardcore kids everywhere looking to book bands. And it's easier to get shows in those places too, because again, a lot of bands, they skip it. They just go from big city to big city.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah,
play every night, didn't matter where. We followed Black Flag's example.
yeah. So wait, did we play in any big cities?
They were all kind of small.
Yeah,
Charleston.
Yeah. Okay. So it was North Charleston, which isn't.
Yeah.
So We played in Sterling, Virginia the first night, then Gastonia, North Carolina the second night, North Charleston, which is like probably the biggest city that we played, then Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Well, that's pretty big for North Carolina. We played there a bunch of times.
Kind of a bigger place.
Okay. Then where else?
Chesapeake, Virginia.
Chesapeake, Virginia, and Salisbury, Maryland. So they were all pretty
Middle size.
like not very big towns.
But you know what? Those are the kind of places where you're gonna build things up. Like you
Yeah.
go back there next time and the shows were small. Hopefully you made a couple of fans and they'll come out next time and they'll bring a couple of friends and it'll go from there. Hopefully. And if it doesn't, then you say, okay, this town's a bust and we'll play someplace else next time. But the Cowboys are tough. I mean, I'm sure there are other bands that could tell you differently, but for our kind of music, kids weren't that interested. They were more into like slower metal type stuff and straight edge stuff. So we weren't really gimmicky enough for some of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was like, I mean, all of them were fun, even though it wasn't big places. The first one was in a pizza shop, so that was sick.
Yeah, we played a pizza place in Bakersfield, California. Again, we played a bagel store once. We played people's backyards. Like you said, every night was fun. That's what counts, and that's people notice that. People notice when you're there going through the motions or when you're enjoying yourself. And I mean, look, times have changed a little since we were touring full time, but a lot of people got into us just because they could tell we were serious about what we were doing. Like I told you, we were playing our hearts out every night, whether it was a big crowd, whether people were paying attention or not. And again, we're kids. The hardcore that I know, that's what kids want. They don't want people half-assing it, doing it for the money, or saying, "Oh, this is a small crowd, so they're not going to give they're not going to give their all."
Mhm.
Just being serious and having fun every night. That, to me, that's like the best thing you can do for your reputation and to build up your band.
Yeah, totally. So, where's your favorite place you've ever toured?
I mean, we toured in Japan, and that was, I mean, it was sick just because it was Japan. Wasn't one of our best tours. Again, for some reason, the bands that we toured with were much more metal. But we should have been playing with more hardcore punk type bands because I know there's a big scene in Japan. But so it wasn't our best tour musically, but just the fact that we were in Japan was wild. I mean, some of my favorites were probably some of the US tours, but we played, we've been to Europe 8 or 9 times now. It's not really any tours that single out, but there are more shows that I remember, individual shows rather than full tours.
Yeah.
Tours always have highs and lows. And I've also always been someone that's suffered from depression and anxiety. So, no matter how much fun other people are having, there are times where I couldn't snap out of it. And, I would still be miserable.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to play Japan someday. It's really, I mean, I've been there once. It's a very amazing place.
Hey, there's no reason you can't make it there. You have plenty of years of playing ahead of you. Like I said, just keep taking your band serious. People notice that.
Yeah,
Well, the other thing we did was we sent out our demo to everyone. Every band we liked, we sent it to. Every zine. At that time, there weren't websites, but we sent them. Every promoter, every zine, every band we liked. If people liked it, great. If they didn't, they didn't. But that's why someone asked me once if my band was popular. I was like, I don't know how popular we are, but everyone knows who we are. They might not all like us, but everyone knows who we are. Now, this was back in our heyday, not now. It might not feel like that.
yeah. I mean, nowadays you don't have to like send demos to people. You can just like send them a link to a web to where your music is.
I know it's a bit of a different world, but I would think sending them something and giving them something to hold in their hand. Again, this might be like a generation gap type thing, but to me, that's going to make you stand out more than just, even me. Like there are kids who email me that are fans of the band that are like, yeah, check out my band, check this link out. And sometimes, they might send it while I'm at work and then I forget and I never look or something like that. But if someone sends me something in the mail, then it's just a little bit more special, It just gets noticed a little bit more.
For sure, it is cool to have like a physical thing instead of pixels on a screen.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, you got to go with, the changes. And if that's what everyone's doing, and, promoters can get busy and might not have the time to or care that you're mailing them something. They just want to click on the link, listen for 30 seconds and move on. So, you got to work with what's happening around you, I guess.
Hmm. So, what was the first punk, metal, or hardcore show you went to, and how old were you?
Um, I mean, the first punk thing I ever saw was I saw the Clash played at a college on Long Island where I grew up. They played two different colleges. Those were the first two punk shows I went to. I was, I believe, either still in high school or just out of high school. I didn't get into punk when I was really young. I didn't get into punk. I got into it probably during high school, the later years, and I was probably about 20 when I wasn't just into it anymore, but it had become my identity. I went from a guy that listened to punk to being a punk. But after those Clash shows, the next things I saw were bigger shows like The Exploited, GBH. I remember those bands, Circle Jerks, who were one of my favorites. And at that time, I didn't know there was a whole scene and this and that. I went and I remember looking at all the people and being like, I grew up on Long Island. There were no punks. This was like 1988, 1989. And I would look at all these people and be like, where do these people live? Where do they go when they're not at a punk concert? Like, I don't see people like this ever. And then I was at one of those big shows one time and someone gave me a flyer and it said, hardcore show, 5 bands for $5 or something like that. And at the time I was just really getting into it and absorbing everything. And it was actually a CBGB's matinee and it was Gorilla Biscuits and Bold. And I don't remember who else, but that was my first scene oriented show. And that blew me away. That's when I realized oh, this isn't something that every few months a band comes around. This is happening every week. And these people are all doing it. It's the same people every week. This is a whole scene. And I was coming from being a hippie and a deadhead and following the dead around. And so this other music that I discovered that had a whole lifestyle attached to it really appealed to me because I had really burned out on the dead scene and everything. And, my ethics and ideals were changing and that scene didn't reflect it. So that first CBGB's matinee and a couple that I went to after that, those were the ones that really changed my life. And then I discovered a venue called ABC No Rio. Have you heard of them?
Yeah. Who told us?
I've been there.
Wait, someone told us about it on the podcast. I don't remember who, but it was someone on here told me about it. You knew about it.
That is where I really became a hardcore punk kid. I used to go every Saturday. I had no friends into this kind of music. I used to go every Saturday by myself. I would buy zines. I would listen. I would watch every band that played, listen to what they spoke about between songs. That's where it really caught on. That's where my roots are as far as hardcore and punk. They're more ABC No Rio than CBGBs. CBGBs might be more famous, but ABC No Rio was, the ethics and the foundation of Kill Your Idols and all that really came from my time going to shows there.
Oh. Wait, when did ABC No Rio doesn't exist anymore, right?
They're actually they're redoing the whole place. So when I went, it was basically an abandoned building. The the floor felt like it was going to cave in. There was this tiny little disgusting bathroom for one person. There was no stage. It played on the floor. Then they moved it downstairs and there was a little stage. You had to go down this rickety stairway, but basically it was little more than an abandoned building. But now they're redoing the whole place. So it'll open again and you guys got to get there.
To play.
Get it- You can get a show there, let me know. I know some people there. And like I said, that place is very special to me.
Yeah. So if you could tell your 13-year-old self anything at all, what would you tell him?
My what, 13-year-old self?
Yeah.
Don't do drugs.
Nice. Good advice.
Well, I've made a lot of mistakes. I don't want to really discuss that, but it's not, I'm not saying it as a public service announcement. I'm saying it because it's cost me a lot. It was
Mhm.
really dark times as a result. So if I have one regret, that's it. I wish I never got involved with them from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm straight edge and I plan to be forever. So yeah.
It's good advice because I'm telling you, it cost me. I'm not comfortable getting into it here because my daughter's home, but it cost me a lot. My life would be very different had I not gone down those roads.
Yeah. So do you have anything else to add before we wrap it up?
No, just thank you for doing this. Keep doing it. Keep doing your band.
Sorry.
Turn off
Try
phone, Jared.
to turn it off.
What?
Sorry.
His phone-
The
his phone
bassist
went
of my
off.
band just called me and I tried to turn it off and it took a sec.
That's
like-
all right.
Your band.
I'm
Sorry.
not- Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, man. I wish you all the luck in the world. I appreciate you doing this interview for me. And if I can ever help with anything, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thanks so much.
Right. You.
Well, yeah, thanks to Andy for joining me today, and thanks to all you for watching or listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Until next week, bye.
Take it easy.